Well, spring has finally made it to the Northern Rockies, and for me, that means one thing. It's turkey season. So I've got an assortment of calls here. I've got a box call here, a little scratch box like you see, and then a slate. We'll start talking about the slate here. This is actually a fiberglass slate. They still make them out of actual slate, but you'll notice if you pick up an actual real slate call, they'll sound a lot different than a glass call like this. They'll sound a lot more mellow. These little calls like this have a lot more kind of a harsh, raspy sound to them. Now, one of the things that you need, if you're gonna be carrying a slate with you, you also need some sandpaper. Because what'll happen is this slate will get like dirt and grime and grease and stuff in it, and it makes it such a smooth surface that your striker can't get a good bite on it. So what you'll need to do is carry, this is 100 grit sandpaper, and just keep that surface roughed up, and then do the same thing with your striker. Just enough to keep that grit and stuff knocked off of there. That sounds sweet. I like this little slate here because you can really get on it and make a loud yelp, or you can do a real light, soft, kind of a tree yelp. That's the kind of stuff you want to be doing early in the morning while those birds are still roosted. One of the things I really like to try to do, if I can find a tom roosted early in the morning, is I'll try to slip in on him as close as I can get while he's still in the tree and do just some little light tree yelps. And that's the first sound when you get in on some turkeys in the morning. That's the first thing they're going to do when they wake up, is just real soft clucks and yelps. I've also got a diaphragm in my mouth, and this is actually a cow elk call. They're made the same way. You can use them interchangeably. This one is a single reed call, and a single reed call doesn't have much rasp to it. And what I mean by that is it's a kind of a real smooth call. And I like this one. I really like this for those early mornings when those birds are still on the roost, because you can get that real low tree talk. And if you can slip in on those birds while they're still in the roost and do a little bit of tree talk to them, if you can get them to respond to you and gobble, just shut up. They know exactly where you're at. And that's one of the mistakes that a lot of people make with turkey hunting, is they call way too much. When that bird knows you're there, especially if he's still on the roost, if he's gonna come to you, he's gonna come. So just get him to respond and then be quiet. So that's an example of what they'd be doing first thing in the morning. All right, so we'll move over and look at this is a scratch box. And this is a type of a call that you don't see all that often. I got this one, a fella made it for me down in Mississippi. And I'll tell you, the guys down in Mississippi, they approach turkey hunting like it's a religion. They set their clocks by it. It's kind of like elk hunting out in the Rocky Mountain states. But the principle is the same as a box call. It's a friction call, just like all these except for the diaphragm there. And using these things takes a little bit of getting used to. You got to kind of figure it out. But you hear that break, that yo, yo, yo. That's what you want for a good yelp. Moving over to the box call here. This is also a handmade call. And you'll notice I've got a piece of tissue paper in here. I always keep a piece of tissue paper in here, and then I'll put a rubber band around this thing for when I'm walking around in the woods, because if you don't pad that call, it's going to be, if you bump it while it's in your pocket or your pack, it's going to be making all sorts of weird noises. And you know, if you're hunting pressured birds, just one out of place noise is all it takes to put them on the alert and make them go the other way. That's a good sounding yelp. Now you'll notice turkey hunters are notorious for carrying all sorts of gadgets. I mean, we'll have 15 different calls, decoys, seat pads. I mean, some guys' turkey vests weigh about 20 pounds. You know, and you don't need most of that stuff. All you need is a diaphragm and a friction call. I usually carry at least 2 different types of calls with me. You know, sometimes you can try everything imaginable to get a bird to gobble with one type of call and he won't make a sound. But as soon as you switch over to a different type of call, he'll gobble his head off. And a lot of times that's all it takes, is just changing the type of call you're using and getting just a little bit different sound to get that bird to fire off. And so I always have a diaphragm with me, and I usually have some sort of friction call, whether it's a slate or a box call or something like that. There'll be times when you really need to ratchet up your calling, do some cutting and things like that to get a bird to talk. Then there'll be other times when you can't buy a gobble. It's all you can do is just get in front of them. And then, much as I hate to admit it, there's going to be times when you do bring them in and, well, you just plain miss. We'll see you next time on Backcountry College.